Imagine trying to build an international aviation hub that is literally larger than London Heathrow.
Oh, wow. Right.
And at the same time, constructing a massive nuclear power plant and a highly fortified mountain retreat for global diplomats,
Just all at once.
all at the exact same time, while you are simultaneously bulldozing and rebuilding the very core of your own capital city.
It sounds insane.
It sounds like a pitch for a science fiction movie, honestly. But that is actually happening. So welcome to this very special Top 5 Ethiopia edition of the Deep Dive.
It really is a staggering level of ambition. I mean, when you look at the pace and the sheer scale of the development happening there, it completely defies traditional models of how a nation modernizes.
We are going to extract the real story behind Ethiopia's transformation. We are breaking down 5 monumental, ongoing mega projects. And, before we even dive into the details, the very first thing that jumped out at me from your sources was the price tag.
Oh, yeah. The financial scale is just...
We are looking at a combined financial scale exceeding $30 billion.
exceeding $30 billion, which is an unprecedented deployment of capital for that region.
It's mind-blowing.
But what's really fascinating here is that we aren't just going to look at the concrete and the steel today, right?
Right.
The goal for us, and for you listening, is to explore the underlying mechanisms of these projects. Because collectively, they're aiming to transform Ethiopia into a high-tech, deeply connected, and entirely self-sufficient powerhouse on the global stage.
Okay, so let's unpack this. I want to start with what these urban planning documents are calling the National Corridor Development and Smart City Initiative.
That's project number 1.
Exactly. Now, looking at these reports, it looks like they are just tearing up massive historic chunks of Addis Ababa.
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, they're building these incredibly wide bicycle highways, laying out thousands of hectares of public green spaces, and putting up these ultra-modern, high-density housing blocks.
It's a massive physical shift.
So what is the actual structural goal here? Are they just trying to make it look prettier for tourists?
No, it goes much deeper than aesthetics.
Yeah.
And to be clear, it's not just Addis Ababa either.
Oh, right. The reports mentioned other cities.
Exactly. This initiative fundamentally reshapes the urban architecture of several major regional cities, places like Bahir Gondar, Adama, and Hawassa.
Right.
The structural goal here is to correct a critical systemic failure. You see, the old urban footprint of these cities simply could not sustain modern populations.
Let alone a modernized economy, right?
Exactly. The old infrastructure was literally choking the economic potential.
I see the logic, I do. Though reading about the speed of these demolitions, it feels incredibly abrupt. I mean, they are doing open-heart surgery on a living city.
That is a great way to put it.
Entire generational neighborhoods are just being displaced to make way for these massive, 6-lane corridors. The Iraq Kilo corridors, right?
The Iraq Kilo corridors are a prime example.
The tension over erasing the visual history of the city practically overnight seems profound based on the sources.
Oh, that tension is very real. And the reports highlight this. It's the classic yet agonizing urban planner's dilemma.
Right.
You have the profound disruption of uprooting established communities on one side. But on the flip side, the traffic congestion in that old layout wasn't just a daily annoyance.
It's worse than that.
It was a suffocating drag on public health and economic output. You just can't operate a high-tech smart nation if your citizens are trapped in gridlock for 4 hours a day, breathing in heavy exhaust.
So they are making this really aggressive calculation. They're prioritizing the creation of a world-class, livable city, clean air, efficient transit, modern sanitation over preserving that older, more chaotic footprint.
Precisely. They're trying to unlock the human capital of these cities.
Ah, human capital.
Yeah, by radically eliminating that daily congestion and improving the baseline standard of living, you suddenly free up millions of hours of human productivity every single week.
Wow, yeah.
It's a foundational step for everything else they want to build.
But, you don't build a hyper-modern, highly productive metropolis just to keep it isolated from the rest of the planet.
You definitely don't.
Which makes the next major project in your sources make complete sense. A world-class city needs a world-class gateway.
Project number 2, the Bishoftu Mega Airport City.
And calling it mega almost feels like an understatement. It barely captures the physical reality of what they're actually constructing.
The scale is hard to comprehend.
Seriously, I had to read the passenger capacity figures 3 times just to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding the data.
What did the numbers say?
This is a $12.5 billion international aviation hub being built just southeast of Addis Ababa. Phase 1 alone is designed for 60 million passengers annually.
60 million, just in phase one.
Right. And when it reaches full completion, they are projecting 110 million passengers every single year.
And just to anchor that number for you listening, 110 million passengers significantly surpasses the current capacities of global heavyweights,
Like London Heathrow,
like Heathrow or even Dubai International.
which is just mind-blowing. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. Looking at the schematics and the source files, this is not just an infrastructure upgrade for Ethiopian Airlines.
Not at all.
They aren't just, adding a few extra runways and a shiny new terminal. They are building a literal airport empire.
Their port empire. That's actually the perfect term for it because the strategy here is highly, highly integrated.
Yeah. The blueprints show massive hotel complexes, sprawling logistics and cargo hubs, and an entirely separate smart city ecosystem built directly around the runways.
It's a whole microeconomy.
Exactly. It seems designed so that a global executive could land, broker a multi-million-dollar international trade deal, sleep in a five-star hotel, and fly out to their next destination without ever technically leaving the airport's economic zone.
Which is a brilliant macroeconomic strategy.
Yeah.
Think about the location. Why Bishoftu?
Right. Why there?
Look at a map. Ethiopia is aggressively positioning itself as the literal geographic crossroads between the rising economies of Asia, South America, and the rest of the African continent.
Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense.
But if you want to move cargo from Beijing to Buenos Aires or fly from London to Cape Town, it makes ultimate logistical sense to route through this specific hub.
So they're basically building a toll booth on the future of global trade.
A toll booth, yes, that's a great way to visualize it. And they capture value at every single stage of that journey.
How?
Well, they capture the ticket revenue, absolutely.
Yeah.
But they also capture the massive cargo logistics fees, the complex maintenance contracts for international fleets.
Oh, right, maintaining the planes.
Yeah, and the lucrative layover tourism. By controlling the central node of the global network, Ethiopia becomes indispensable to international supply chains.
Which translates into immense diplomatic and economic leverage.
Exactly.
But reading through the physical requirements of this master plan, a glaring logistical reality hits you pretty fast.
The power requirements.
Yes, you have a sprawling network of newly modernized smart cities. Now, you add an airport city larger than Dubai that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It takes a lot of juice.
Powering all of that requires a mind-boggling, uninterrupted surge of electricity. Those runways demand an immense flow of power.
Which leads directly into the third major initiative in your sources, the massive pivot in their energy sector.
The nuclear and natural gas super complexes. This one honestly gave me the biggest shock out of all the projects.
Really, more than the airport.
Yeah, because the budget's detail and initiative crossing the $10 billion mark just to construct Ethiopia's first utility-scale nuclear power plant.
Right. Designed to match the massive energy scale of their dams.
Exactly. Alongside massive new natural gas extraction and processing facilities. The reports say the first gas plant is supposedly opening right now, with a second plant 10 times larger beginning construction immediately.
It is a profound shift in their national energy strategy.
But wait, I really have to push back here, because I'm looking at these $10 billion figures, and I know Ethiopia is already famous globally for its massive river dams.
True.
I mean, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the GER, is legendary at this point for its sheer scale. Hydropower is essentially their national brand.
It is, yeah.
So why take this incredibly expensive gamble to learn an entirely new, deeply complex technology like nuclear? What does a nuclear plant do that a massive river dam can't?
It's a great question, and it really raises an important point about the mechanics of energy security.
Okay, break that down for me.
Yes, Ethiopia is an absolute giant when it comes to hydropower. But relying entirely on one source of energy, no matter how vast it is, creates a strategic vulnerability.
Ah, putting all your eggs in one basket.
Precisely. Think about the physical realities of climate variations. What happens to a nation entirely dependent on rivers during a prolonged, multi-year regional drought?
Oh, the water levels drop.
Exactly. The water drops, the turbines slow down, and suddenly your 110 million passenger mega airport and your high-tech smart cities face rolling blackouts.
That would be a disaster.
It's exactly the scenario they are trying to avoid. Think of their national grid like an investment portfolio.
Okay.
Hydropower is their high-yield, somewhat volatile stock. It pays out massive dividends when the rains are good, but it carries risk during a dry season. Nuclear power and natural gas act as their bonds.
So they provide the stability.
Exactly. In power generation, we call it baseload power.
Base load.
Nuclear provides an incredibly dense, constant, unyielding supply of electricity
Yeah.
that is completely immune to weather patterns.
So by adding nuclear and gas to their hydro foundation, Ethiopia transforms into this highly resilient energy fortress.
That's exactly it. They crucially insulate their booming domestic industries from sudden global oil price shocks or those regional climate variations we talked about.
So they never have to worry about external energy markets crippling their growth because they generate everything in-house, regardless of the weather.
That is the core of the strategy, total self-sufficiency.
But ensuring they have that baseload power doesn't mean they're just ignoring those rivers, right?
Yeah.
Because the fourth mega project in our stack of research shows they are basically weaponizing their renewable superpower for export.
Yes, you're referring to the Koisha hydropower dam.
Yes. Project number 4. Ethiopia didn't just pack up their engineering equipment after they finished the GERD.
Not at all.
They are rapidly pushing through construction on another monstrous hydro project on the Omo River. And the scale of this is just hard to wrap your head around.
It really is.
It's a $2.7 billion mega dam that creates a 200 square kilometer artificial lake.
And just to put that in perspective, the physical weight of an artificial lake that size is almost geological in its impact.
Right. Really?
Oh, yeah. It fundamentally alters regional microclimates and ecological systems.
Wow, so it's truly massive, and it's designed to output 1,800 megawatts of clean energy.
Right.
But looking at the distribution plans in the source material, the most striking detail is that they aren't just powering their own cities with this new dam.
No, they have much bigger plans for that power.
Koisha effectively turns Ethiopia into a green renewable energy supermarket for the entire East African region.
A supermarket. That's a good analogy.
What?
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where the infrastructure transforms into geopolitics.
How so?
Well, exporting massive amounts of clean energy isn't just a mechanism for generating foreign currency, although it does do that.
Right.
More importantly, it creates deep structural economic interdependencies.
Meaning neighboring countries literally rely on Ethiopia to keep their own lights on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate soft power mechanism.
That makes total sense.
When surrounding nations come to rely on the Ethiopian power grid for their daily survival, for their hospitals to function, for their factories to run, for their schools to have light, that translates into massive diplomatic influence.
Yeah, I mean, you are far less likely to enter into a border dispute or a trade war with the nation that literally controls your electricity switch.
Precisely. The high-voltage power lines essentially become these physical bonds of regional stability, with Ethiopia firmly positioned right at the center of the web.
Wow. Okay, so let's look at the board right now.
Let's do it.
They are completely re-engineering their urban corridors to maximize human capital.
Yeah.
They are building a geographic toll booth for global transit with the mega airport.
Sure.
They are securing an impenetrable energy fortress with nuclear, gas, and hydro, and they are exporting that power to control the region.
It's an incredible stack of assets.
It really is. And when you possess that level of structural wealth and regional leverage, you attract a certain level of global power broker.
You do, which perfectly explains the final project in your sources.
Project number 5. The Chaka Forest Resort and Luxury Mega Village.
This one is fascinating.
I could not stop reading about this one. It is an ultra-luxury, high-security presidential and ecotourism development sprawling over 503 hectares on the Yeka Hills overlooking Addis Ababa.
503 hectares. It is an immense footprint for what is essentially a bespoke VIP ecosystem.
It's huge. They're physically carving 3 massive artificial lakes right into the mountains.
Wow.
They are building 29 kilometers of newly paved mountain highways just to connect the luxury resort villages and the massive diplomatic venues inside the compound.
It's like a private city.
It really is. But the detail I fixated on was the sheer secrecy and exclusivity of it. It operates almost like an elite fortress.
Right.
And the stated goal in these documents is to turn Addis Ababa into the Geneva of Africa.
Geneva of Africa. That's a bold claim.
Right. So I have to ask, does carving a luxury VIP fortress into a mountain actually have the power to shift global diplomacy?
It absolutely does. And this project is really a masterclass in understanding how modern soft power physically manifests.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, we tend to think of international diplomacy occurring in these sterile, bureaucratic UN meeting rooms.
Right, folks in suits sitting around a big round table.
Exactly.
Right.
But historically, the most high-stakes global politics And the most lucrative macroeconomic deals happen in highly controlled, prestigious environments.
Like the exclusive golf course or the secluded retreat.
Exactly. By custom building this elite ecosystem, one that guarantees absolute security, pristine ecotourism, and just unrivaled luxury, Ethiopia is creating a physical magnet for international high society.
And high-stakes political summits.
Yes, it's the ultimate home field advantage.
It really is, isn't it?
It is. When you host the world's leaders, CEOs, and diplomats in a bespoke mountain paradise that you build, it inherently elevates your nation's diplomatic standing.
It sets the tone before the meeting even starts.
Completely.
Yeah.
It signals enduring stability, immense wealth, and sophisticated capability. It sends a very clear message to the international community.
Which is what?
We aren't just participating in the global conversation anymore, we are hosting it.
Wow. Okay, so what does this all mean for you, the listener, analyzing these sources?
That's the big question.
We've unpacked the over $30 billion in spending. We've explored the mechanisms behind the smart cities, the mega airport, the nuclear baseload power, the massive dams, and this mountain fortress for diplomats.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. But now we have to tackle the big debate of this deep dive.
Let's do it.
Of these 5 mega projects, which one is the true game changer for the regular Ethiopian citizen?
It is a highly complex question because, as we've seen, the mechanisms of all 5 are deeply, deeply interconnected.
I know they feed into each other, but I'm going to take a hard stance here.
Okay, let's hear it.
I am arguing passionately for the National Corridor Initiative.
Really? Interesting choice. You are elevating the urban restructuring over the massive macroeconomic engines.
Yes, absolutely.
Defend that for me.
Because despite the intense demolition controversies, which we've noted, and despite the sheer jarring disruption of tearing up the old city footprint, this fundamentally changes the human experience on a Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, having a 110 million passenger airport is fantastic for the national GDP. But having a park to walk in, a bike lane that is actually safe to use, and a daily commute that doesn't steal 3 hours of your life in suffocating gridlock,
It makes a difference, yes.
that is an immediate, tangible upgrade to human dignity and daily happiness. It literally changes the air people breathe.
I hear your point. And the daily livability of a modern city is undeniably crucial for human capital, like we discussed.
Right.
But I have to counter that the true game changers are the Bishoftu mega airport and the energy complexes.
Okay, defend the macro over the micro. Walk me through the mechanism.
Because without the macro infrastructure, the micro livability isn't sustainable.
What do you mean?
Beautiful green parks, high-tech transit corridors, and safe bike lanes are fantastic, but they require massive, continuous municipal budgets to maintain. Where does that capital come from? It comes from structural, macroeconomic wealth.
So the airport pays for the parks.
Precisely. By becoming the geographic gatekeeper of African transit, and by becoming an energy exporter insulated from global shocks via nuclear and baseload power, Ethiopia generates the immense, reliable wealth necessary to fund a higher standard of living for the masses.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Energy security and global trade are the invisible economic engines that ultimately sustain those smart cities you are advocating for.
So I'm arguing for the beautiful, livable house, and you were pointing out that someone actually has to pay the mortgage on it.
Exactly. The economic engine of the airport and the power grid is the foundation that allows the social benefits of the urban corridors to exist in the first place.
That is a very fair point. The causality flows from the macro to the micro.
It does.
But honestly, no matter which side of the debate you fall on when looking at these sources, you just have to stand in awe of the sheer audacity here.
Audacity is the right word.
The speed and financial scale at which this country is operating is just unbelievable. They are looking at the future, and instead of taking a tentative, piecemeal step, they are taking a $30 billion sprint.
And that rapid acceleration leads to a very profound shift in global dynamics.
How so?
Well, I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to ponder as you review these sources.
Okay.
If Ethiopia successfully executes this master plan, if they cement themselves as the premier transit toll booth, the resilient energy fortress, and the diplomatic hub of the continent.
Which they are well on their way to doing.
Right. How will traditional global superpowers have to fundamentally rewrite their foreign policies when they suddenly find themselves negotiating not with a developing nation, but with a fully self-sufficient, highly modernized, African megastate.
Oh, wow. It is going to rewrite the entire geopolitical map.
Complete.
They aren't just adapting to the future, they are aggressively constructing it. It's a massive transformation, and we are incredibly lucky to watch it happen in real time.
We really are.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into your research. We'll catch you next time.